Good morning. I'm former Secretary Edwin Lacierda from Pinoy's administration.
Good morning. I'm former spokesperson Margaux Salcedo from President Erap's administration.
And we are the Spokes. From the panel's hosts then to our group chats now.
We will give you perspectives from an insider's position standing behind the podium.
And today's biggest news, noted by the Spokes, Senator Win Gatchalian is now the Senate President pro tempore and acting Senate President.
I saw your tweet explaining that there's no longer Senate President now, and Senator Ping Lacson answered you, Nux.
And which was corrected by Senator Erwin Tulfo because under the Constitution, it's very, very explicit that the head of the House must be elected by all the members of that House. So there are 24, so it's 13. For the rest, conducting the business in the House, whether House or Senate, it's just a majority of the House. So there's a distinction. That's the language of the Constitution. Maybe Senator Ping Lacson was looking at the case of Avelino versus Cuenco, where they actually replaced Avelino as Senate President.
Explain natin yung Avelino. Did you read it?
Yeah, I did. No, but let's have it done with our guests. We'll be discussing with the guests.
Yeah, okay, sige. We'll discuss Avelino versus Cuenco later. But bottom line is, as of today, there is a new Senate pro tempore. Although, of course, Senator Lauren Legarda has likewise questioned this. And the Senate pro tempore, based on what Senator Mig Zubiri said during plenary, Rule 5, because he is now the Senate pro tempore, he is now also the acting Senate President.
Okay.
At the same time, however, Senator Alan Cayetano has insisted that he is the legally, morally, also still continuing to be the Senate President. So it's another case, I guess, for the Supreme Court to handle if they will take jurisdiction over it.
I'm not sure that the moral is part of the requirement of the...
Pero sinabi niya, morally, I am morally still. And then he issued this sheet of paper calling sine die yesterday. But I understand that that's not allowed. Sabi po ni Senator Ping Lacson, illegal daw po yun because that's supposed to be done in plenary.
In plenary, yes. That's so many legal issues before the Supreme Court. And you know, this whole hulabaloo ended because Chis Escudero jumped ship.
Senator Chis Escudero, on behalf of the Filipino people, we would like to thank you for having a change of heart.
Oh, not... Oh, that's a nice pun.
For politics. But in person, please be careful with your heart. Okay.
But that really just changed the whole ball game. There's always been talk that someone has to move so that to break the impasse. So apparently, Chis Escudero decided to break the impasse. So.
Pagdating po niya kahapon, talagang nagpalakpakan lahat.
Talaga?
Wow. Oo, nagpalakpakan po lahat. May hugs pa sila. It was very emotional. It was very emotional. My question lang is that how did Senator Win Gatchalian suddenly be the presiding officer before being elected Senate pro tempore? Because parang nandun na lang siya.
Kasi there's already been talk that, di ba remember there was may kwento na Chis wanted to be SP. So, but it wasn't acceptable to Migs, to some of the senators. So, they had to find a compromise candidate. They didn't want also, I suppose, Senator Tito Soto. I mean, the other side. So, Win Gatchalian appeared to be the most amenable. So that's why the discussion was, they already had numbers daw, pero si Win lang talaga ang compromise na ano.
You also had another very popular viral tweet yesterday wherein you were saying that there's one more senator who might cross over to the other side, magiging SB 13 na sila kung ganun. Right. Who is that? I-reveal mo naman.
I cannot say that. I'm not Jess Francis. Jess Francis. Bahala na si Jess.
Ayaw i-reveal.
May kunting ano lang. May kunting, okay lang sabihin niya. But okay. That's really confirmed.
Yeah, okay. Pero at least with this quorum established, senators moved to vacate all positions, including the Senate President. Ang bilis-bilis ng pangyayari. Okay. So in fairness to Senator Mig Zubiri, talagang pak. We moved to vacate all positions vacant. We moved to declare all positions vacant. We moved to resolve Senate pro tempore. And then he took his oath, and then may bago ng Sergeant at Arms, may bago ng
Senate Secretary.
Senate Secretary.
Pero ganun din ginawa nila, Alan Cayetano when they assume office. They also had to change everyone.
Mabilisan
Diba
din.
yung Sergeant at Arms, diba, pinalitan, diba, Senate Secretary pinalitan. So, those are part of the administration side of the House, the Senate. So, kaya kailangan gawin yun.
However, Senator Lauren Legarda, in her statement, had a very interesting addition. So the Senate, the SB 12, SB 11 plus 1, the new majority, they were saying that they had quorum. However, Senator Lauren Legarda, based on the Constitution plus Avelino, however, Senator Lauren Legarda mentioned Rule 2 of the Senate Rules.
Which was?
Which states that you can only change officers, so not just the Senate President, but officers of the Senate with a majority vote of all members. So we have to, siguro ang kailangan dun i-decide is, what is the definition of all members? Is it all 24 or is it all existing members as stated in Avelino?
Yes, but anyway, that's going to be part of our discussion later.
Yes, we will
So, yeah,
ask
so,
our
but-
constitutional experts.
So we have theoretically, two factions now vying for the Senate President. Parang ano ito Remember, what is the term that we use? Possession is 3/5 something, di ba? Ownership. When it comes to eviction, di ba? Possession is 3/5 So once you possess it, ikaw na yung kahit na hindi ka legally owned yung lupa, if you possess it, mas may ka.
Following that thought, I would say, di ba, they have been saying that Senate President pa ba? Senator Alan Cayetano has been guilty of dereliction of duty kasi hindi siya nag-attend. But following what you just said now, I think you can even go so far as to say that it has been an abolition. Di ba? Like he abandoned his office. When ERAP was yung very famous case of ERAP, the Supreme Court ruled that he was no longer president because of what they termed constructive resignation.
Yes, I remember that. That's a new thing,
So I don't know if you can apply that because they have not been attending,
Right.
diba? And in fact, they have been quote-unquote boycotting. So I don't know if you can also kind of like consider that constructive abandonment of office.
Maraming ganap daw today.
Daming
Diba?
ganap today, exciting.
The Blue Ribbon Committee is going to be, sila Pia Quintano will be holding the Blue Ribbon Committee hearing today. But last night, si Senate Pro Tempore Edwin issued a memo, work from home tayo. Work from home tayo. Sabi niya, so, labanan ng strategy to ngayon. So, interesting.
Oo nga. Kasi I heard that there's also may prayer rally pa.
Huh?
Nagpatawag sila ng prayer rally, pinatawag nila yung 18 Marines para mag-appear, tapos pupunta silang Senate, and kung hindi daw magkakaroon sila ng prayer rally, nakakatawa po si Senator Tulfo, kasi sabi niya kahapon sa press conference niya, so kung dumating sila, pwede naman natin sila pagmeriendahin. Kasi sa Monday pa daw po yung sa Blue Ribbon.
Oh, okay.
Also noted by the spokes, the Sandigan Bayan rejected the request of former Speaker Martin Romualdez to lift the precautionary whole departure order.
Tama naman yun. I think dapat na don't allow him to leave because it's unfair for the others who already have hold orders and suddenly you'll ask. And for what reason, we don't know. So I agree with that decision. It also sends a signal that Sandigan Bayan is no respecter of persons. So whether you're high or low, that should stay.
Yung naman niya, sir, yung kanyang right to have his medical check-up done. Singapore lang naman po yata, di ba?
Parang iniinsulto yung mga doktor dito sa Pilipinas. But admittedly, Singapore has better, I suppose, hospital facilities. But I don't think it can, even if you don't go there, we've got very, very competent and capable doctors here. So
Wala namang violation of the
the
right.
fear is always, are you going to flee and not come back? Di ba? So we want to avoid another Saldico situation where he left the country and never came back.
Or Bato, where he's just missing in action.
The problem is you don't know if this guy or Speaker Martin Romualdez is really going to come back because medyo he's at the center of the storm.
Okay. We'll see now. But he has maintained that he is prepared to face whatever is hurled at him at the.
And he's got good lawyers. The
Excellent
Villarasa law
lawyers.
firm. He's supported by the Villarasa law firm, so that's a very good law firm.
May nagsabi po, in-expel nila si Kiko Barrasaga sa House of Representatives, but some of those who have been accused in the flood control scandal are still there. So,
That's really the problem with the House. There are a number of contractors And I think si Boying Remulla is also should be investigating those people, not just the Senate, not just the senators, but all involved in the flood control scam.
Yeah, so we'll see today kung magkakaroon ng Blue Ribbon Committee. Kung natawag sila doon.
Okay, so these are the headlines noted by the spokes today. We'll have litigation lawyer and political legal strategist Atty. Paolo Panelo when his spokes return after this short break. And the spokes is back. We've seen the Senate wrested control of leadership and insisted they had a valid quorum.
Is this a legitimate exercise of parliamentary power or a dangerous reinterpretation of the Constitution? So joining us now is lawyer and constitutional commentator, Attorney Salvador Panelo Jr., not Attorney Sal Panelo. Welcome to the spokes, Attorney Paolo.
Thank you for having me.
Bakit ka, Paolo? Junior ka pala.
Paolo ang binigay sa akin na, na palayaw ng parents ko.
I have a very tough question for you.
Mamaya pa yung tough. O sige.
Umpisa ko na. How does it feel to be the son of Attorney Panelo? It's so much,
I'm proud to be his son.
Is there pressure on you?
Fashion-wise?
Yes, of course. Fashion, di masyado.
Sinabi ko na kay Sal kanina, talo ka na ng anak mo. In one of the meetings, sabi ko, talo ka na ng anak mo, mas gwapo anak mo sa'yo.
Parang hindi ko nakikita yung resemblance.
Oo nga.
I look more like my mom.
Okay.
Napaka-asawa si Attorney Panelo. Very beautiful. Hi po, tita.
Your mom is a doctor, right?
Yes, she is.
Ang sabi nila, ang mga nanay, ang talino ng isang anak, 80% galing sa nanay. So, we credit to the mom.
When I was growing up, and then I was having, kunyari, sometimes I have difficulty in school. Parang my parents will always tell me, yung tatay mo, abogado, yung nanay mo, doktor. Saan ka pa magmamana? Diba? So, kaya mo yan. Apply yourself. Blah, blah, blah.
You know, there's a saying in the States that if you have a doctor in the family and a lawyer in the family, it's a Jewish family.
Yeah, but you have your own law firm.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
And is your father part of that?
He has a room in the office, but he hasn't been going to the office. He's enjoying his semi-retirement. I don't think he stood inside the courtroom since 2016 when he got appointed as part of the cabinet of PRRD.
Incidentally, he was with the spokes, right? Or is still with
He
the spokes?
refused to be in the spokes.
Oh, okay.
He was asked by our executive producer and he refused to be in the spokes.
Oh my goodness. Ayaw niya mag-the spokes. Ikaw na lang.
Oo nga.
We'll represent him today.
So your law firm is Panelo and Panelo?
Panelo Law Office, yeah.
Naks naman. Okay. So coming back to our discussion earlier on the heated conversations that we were having in the debate on quorum, what is your reaction? May quorum ba kahapon?
Yeah, so yesterday, they cited Avelino versus Cuenco for the legal basis for declaring that 12, that there's a quorum based on 12. I read the case, and it's very interesting because it appears that the portion where the Supreme Court says that 12 can be the majority is an obiter dictum. Because what happened there was, the ruling of the Supreme Court was that they had no jurisdiction because it was a political question. So there,
Explain mo muna sa mga hindi abogado, what is political question?
Yeah, pagka political question, yung Supreme Court, iniiwasan nilang makialam dahil ayon sa Constitution, ayon sa jurisprudence natin, pagka political question, ang dapat nagre-resolve ng mga issues na ganyan ay yung mga senador lamang. Diba? Yung mga binoto ng tao para dyan. So, kaya naging political question kasi ang leadership ng Senado, ang sabi ng Supreme Court doon sa kaso na yun, dapat ang magde-determine yan, yung mga senador din mismo.
Correct.
Okay? So, ang naging botohan nila doon, attorneys Margaux and Edwin, was 6 denying it was a petition for quo warranto. Kasi the petitioner there was ousted as Senate President by
Senator Avelino.
By Avelino, who was voted by 12. So nag-file siya ng petition for quo warranto, dininay ng Supreme Court. Ang botohan is, I guess there were just 11 Supreme Court justices then, 6, 4, and 1. 6 in favor of denying, 4 against, meaning they wanted to grant the petition, and 1 was abroad. The one Supreme Court justice was abroad. So, pero dun sa 6, sabi nung dalawa dun sa 6, wala tayong jurisdiction. So there's no point in discussing whether may quorum ba or wala. So,
Pero yung apat, sabi, let's discuss the quorum.
let's discuss the quorum, and ang sabi nila doon, hindi nila diniscuss yung Senate presidency, di ba? It was more of quorum. The constitutional provision on quorum. And ang sabi ng apat is, each house, not a majority of all members of the house, but a majority of each house.
Yes.
So on that basis, they said na
May quorum.
may quorum kasi pwede mong exclude yung mga wala sa country.
Ito lang background lang sa Avelino versus Cuenco. Si Avelino is a Liberal Party member. He was a Senate President. Quirino was a Liberal Party. He was a President of the country. So, ang nangyari, Avelino was eventually became the Senate President. I mean, Cuenco eventually was elected to replace Avelino. It all started because the lolo of Erin Tanyada, si Lorenzo Tanyada, wanted to deliver a privileged speech on exposing Senate President Avelino's shenanigans. He was involved in the corruption on the money surplus, US surplus, kasi after the war, ang daming surplus. He was profiting from that, plus a number of corruption schedules. In fact, eventually, kinausap niya si President Quirino because he ordered an investigation. Ang sabi ni Avelino kay Quirino, why did you order an investigation? If you do not tolerate corruption, at least permit them. What are we in power for? That's where the line came from. Diba? There's a famous line, what are we in power for? It came from Avelino.
Although
Diba?
may nagsabi na ano daw yan, mali daw yung translation because he wasn't
He's in
really speaking
Spanish.
English, he
Yeah.
spoke Spanish.
Right.
And what he actually said was, what do we have the mandate of the people? Are we actually fulfilling our mandate?
Correct. But eventually, it said that, and in addition to that, it was in a dinner conversation. Ang sabi ni Avelino kay Quirino, and this is the most telling talaga, apart from the word, what are in power, ang sinabi niya, all of us politicians go to hell. Sabi niya, we will all go to hell. In hell, there is no investigation, there is no Secretary of Justice, there is no Secretary of Interior to investigate us.
Ito yung juicy.
Yeah.
That's not found in the...
It's not in the case.
And
It's not in the case.
that case of the Senate thing, ang gulo, was also reported in the New York Times, similar to this
Yes,
situation.
I saw that. Actually, alam mo, of all places, nabasa ko siya sa post ni Cardinal Pablo Murillo David. But going back to the quorum, it was actually in the body of the decision in Avelino versus
Correct.
Cuenca. And with respect to the acting president, there was ang difference is, ngayon, pati yung Senate pro tempore absent. Wala si Senator Lauren Legarda. But in the Avelino versus Cuenco case, the Senate pro tempore was there. And therefore, what they moved was for the Senate, for them to designate somebody as acting president. Here, in this case today, what happened was, they moved for Senator Win Gatchalian to become the Senate pro tempore. And then, by virtue of their rules, because the Senate President is not there, then he acts as President.
Ang nakita ko dyan is, so the first ruling was, we have no jurisdiction because it's a political question. Tapos clearly, in the body of the decision, it says, if we had jurisdiction, this is what the 4 that voted to deny the petition for quorum thinks, that there's a valid quorum. But apart from 12 being a majority for 24 under certain conditions, they also noted there that there was a quorum because at the start of the session, on that day, may quorum. There were 14 senators.
Was it a continuing hearing?
Oo.
Yeah.
So yun yung unique circumstances to the Avelino case that made them decide that way. Now, is it applicable to this situation? Of course, the camp of Senator Win Gatchalian and the new majority, as they say, yun ang sasabihin nila. Pero tingin ko hindi ganun kalinaw eh. Kasi nga, obiter dictum, 4 lang sila nagsabi na may quorum. Yung 4 dissenting justices, klaro, no quorum naman.
Yung ginawa nitong decision na to, Avelino versus Cuenco was decided under the 1935 Constitution. That
Correct.
much is clear, and therefore that's a basis for Senators Pia and Loren to say that doesn't apply to us because under the 1987 Constitution, iba na ang lengguwahe. But under the 1987 Constitution, in fact, the language of Avelino versus Cuenco was incorporated there because there are two kinds of what constitutes quorum. The first one under Article 6, Section 16, subparagraph 1,
Yes.
to elect the Senate President, it requires the vote of all the members of the House. So that means 24. So a quorum of 13 is required. Under Article 6, Section 16, subparagraph 2, it says to constitute quorum for doing business, a majority of the House lang. So that's where ang labanan. So obviously, that's why I disagreed I said in my tweet, hindi napalitan si SP Cayetano. In fact, remember, di ba ang ini-nominate ni Mig Zubiri kay Gatchalian? It was Senate pro tempore.
Yeah, not president.
So, in that respect, do you think, pagdating sa Senate President, agree tayo,
Yeah.
13 ang quorum.
Yes.
Anything other than the leadership change, it can be less than 12 lang. Or whoever, what is the quorum? Quorum kasi is 12 eh.
Yeah, that was significantly discussed by the dissenting justices.
Right.
So for them, they cited several bases to say na yung majority talagang 13. So meron silang basis, of course. Ang malinaw sa akin dito, Attorney Edwin, is of course, they consulted lawyers before doing this, di ba? Parang I think no lawyer worth his salt would say, sige, go tayo, 100% pasok yan. Pag binasa mo yung Avelino versus Cuenco, you'll see na parang, okay, there's some basis, but delikado din tayo dyan because of several reasons. So, tingin ko, ang sabi din naman ng Cuenco versus Avelino is, parang this can all be muted by a 13th senator.
Right,
Diba?
exactly. Same here in this
Same
situation.
here. And another important thing that I noticed was in Avelino versus Cuenco, the day where the ruckus happened, February 21, 1949, and the Supreme Court decided it on March 4,
Bilis,
1949, on MR pa, motion for reconsideration na. So, sana, di ba? Kasi kapag under the present situation, and my context is, I'm one of the lawyers for the habeas corpus petition. It's been over 14, 15 months na, wala pang decision. So, if one of the camps runs to the Supreme Court and then upuan, edi panalo na yung in possession, like
Correct,
you said.
One interesting
Taking-
thing under the Avelino versus Cuenco case, dalawa yung absent sa kanila, di ba? One was abroad and one was in the hospital. Yung isa pa doon, I think, lolo ni Tito Soto.
Si Senator Vicente.
Senator
Vicente,
Soto.
oh.
Yeah.
And then, it has been pointed out that Senator Laila de Lima, when she was also incarcerated, was considered an existing member of the court. So, what do you think? Does a detained senator remain to be counted as one of the existing members? Or so Senator Jinggoy now, dapat ba kasama siya sa bilang?
I think they should. And true enough, kahapon, when the roll was called, kasama naman sila. Diba? Doon sa pagtawag ng attendance. Ang tingin kong dangerous precedent that will be created if this becomes validated or legalized by the Supreme Court is the sitting president, to take control of the Senate, all he has to do is to file non-bailable cases against members of the Senate na he doesn't agree with or he knows will vote against his interests. Yun ang gagawin niya, 'di ba? So yung mga currently akusado like Jinggoy and Senator Bato who has an ICC warrant, meron silang valid claim na pinupolitika kami. Kasi kung hindi recognize ng BBM administration itong ICC process or hindi kinasuhan si Jinggoy ng itong plunder case habang yung iba hindi naman kinakasuhan, edi makakaboto sila. 'Di ba? So yun yung dangerous para sa akin. It's almost like you want to propose na if you're a sitting senator, even if you're filed a non-bailable case, you can post bail for purposes of exercising your your legislative functions kasi binoto ka ng tao for that purpose eh. Yun ang nangyayari if you have a situation where the government, katulad nitong timing, let's talk about the timing. Diba? Today is supposed to be the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee chaired by the Vice Chairperson Rodante Marcoleta. Kahapon nila ginawa to. So obviously, parang ayaw nila matuloy yung today. Diba?
Hindi, kasi last day talaga ngayon eh. So you cannot have a leadership change while in recess. So you can only effect a leadership change while the Senate is in sessions. And yesterday was the last day.
Yeah, but they can change session after the break.
But
yeah.
because all the things that will happen during recess will happen under the watch and under the committee chairmanships of the former committee chairs. That's why that had to be changed. Everyone had to be changed. My question to you is, the Supreme Court will not take in the case of Avelino versus Cuenco, there was a statement also that we cannot compel their attendance, like the one in abroad. We cannot compel his attendance. He was abroad. The situation of Jinggoy and Bato, for instance, he's in hiding. You cannot compel his attendance. Jinggoy, however, you cannot also compel his attendance because you have to observe the law that if there's a case filed, he's detained, you cannot compel Sandigan Bayan, i-produce mo yan. Di ba? So that's why it became 22. Let's game this out. Alan is 10. Sherwin has 12. To constitute quorum, at the minimum is 12. How can Alan even call for a session to order? He does not have quorum. So whatever case that you're going to decide, it goes up to the Supreme Court. Sabihin na natin unconstitutional, assuming for the sake of argument na unconstitutional ang ginawa nila. Oh, paano mo magtatawag ka ng quorum? Magtatawag panalo, sabi mo Senate President si Alan. Eh kung wala naman pumasok sa kanila yung mga minority, how will he call the session to order? Pangalawa, pag pumasok naman lahat, kaya ayaw magtawag ni Alan ng ng session kasi nga alam niya he doesn't have the numbers anymore. So, if assuming tumawag si Alan, pumasok siya, nag-call siya to order, gagawin nila. Now, mas may he will make you do the same thing, di ba? I will declare all positions vacant. It's the same thing. Unless you're able to make pitas from other side. Oo nga. So, either traces sila or bumalik sa... Because right now, 12-10 eh. Wala namang anong poder. And that's also part of the Avelino case, ha? Sinabi ron, gagawa... That's why it's a political question doctrine kasi it's a numbers game. Sabi mo, manalo naman si Avelino, wala siyang numero eh.
Yeah.
So how will he call the session to order? It's really moot and academic right now because ang sinasabi rin nila, di ba? Ang sabi nila, Sherwin, we had to do this because hindi naman siya talaga ang Senate pro tempore, it was Lauren. But kung mismo ang Senate President nang ayaw mag-call to order, they are forced to do it. That's
we are
also
compelled to do
we're
this,
compelled to do it. So how do you at the end of the day, it's a Pyrrhic victory for Alan.
Yeah.
Kasi wala siyang numero eh, unless makapitas nga siya.
Ako, ang basa ko from the statements is, I agree with you that at some point, diba, even without Cheese, he was going to lose the chairmanships.
No, kailangan mo talaga si Cheese. I mean, tama. You have to remove, kasi to constitute business in the House, kailangan mo ng 12.
Yeah. Pero parang from what I gather from the Facebook live videos of Alan Peter was that they were just preserving things until today for purposes of the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee. And then whatever happens after that, bahala na. Parang yun ang pagkaintindi ko sa statements eh. So, kunyari kung mas Duterte-aligned person ka, ang mindset mo is pinipigilan nila itong Senate Blue Ribbon Committee. Si Senator Tulfo, I'm not sure if it was Senator Edwin or Rafi, said it was just going to be rescheduled to June 8. I think that's next week. So, tingnan natin. Pero mukhang itong grupo nila Senator Cayetano, mukhang tutuloy din nila today.
Pero ano sa tingin mo? Aakyat ba si Alan sa Supreme Court?
I don't know, pero kung ako, itutuloy ko talaga yung Senate Blue Ribbon Committee today because in the Avelino versus Cuenco, one of the reasons why the Supreme Court said we have no jurisdiction is, sabi doon, there's only one Senate. Nobody's parang it's unlike a situation in a previous case where there were two groups claiming to be the Senate. I guess
Which
US
is
case.
today, which is what is happening. Which is what is
that's an
happening
interesting...
today.
So sabi ng Supreme Court basically, buti sana kung dalawang Senate, sinasabi nila, ako yung totoong Senate, ako yung totoong Senate, we can intervene. We can interpret the law. We can interpret the Constitution. Pero if there's only one Senate and there's just two groups fighting over it, political question.
You know, kung political question, di talo si Alan. Pero tanong ko sa'yo, interesting to eh. Kung alam mo, let's say, you're the strategist, di ba? Sabi, strategist ka, di ba? Kung ikaw kay Alan, alam mo medyo tagilid ka sa Supreme Court, di ko ka na lang mag-file ng petition sa Supreme Court, magtuloy-tuloy ka lang hanggang session, doon na lang lalabas kung sino talaga may numero.
We have now on the line, I think there is another event happening right now at the Senate. What a very exciting day. We have Hannah T. Hannah?
Hello, kakatapos lang ng press conference with Senator Win Gatchalian at we're actually here inside the plenary hall where we're expecting na lilitaw yung ilan sa mga senador. We just received information that Senator Alan Peter Cayetano is actually here along with Senators Pia Cayetano and Robin Padilla and also Secretary Lauren Legarda. Nasa likod sila ng plenary hall actually. We're on standby here kung itutuloy nila itong pagdinig on the flood control scandal probe because kanina sinabi na ni Senate President Pro Tempore Win Gatchalian na walang hearing today because as per the newly elected Blue Ribbon Chairperson Erwin Tulfo, sa Lunes dapat magkakaroon ng pagdinig ang Blue Ribbon. On the part of Cayetano's group, nanindigan sila. Actually, kagabi, there was an advisory na tuloy itong pagdinig. At sabi naman ni Gatchalian, merong protocol ngayon dito sa Senado na wala ngang Blue Ribbon or any hearing today. At in fact, dumating itong si DLG Secretary John De Cremulya. At sabi ni Gatchalian, he sought assistance when it comes to the security here inside the Senate premises. And ma-share ko na lang din that sabi ni Gatchalian, wala na siyang kinokonsidera na minority or majority block. What's important daw is the Senate should be and should get back to work because the Senate is back to work dahil nga sa nangyaring session kahapon kung saan nagkaroon or nabuo itong solid block 11 where Senator Cheese Escudero surfaced. Yan yung sa gitna nung panawagan na sumulpot yung mga members ng nooy majority block para raw makapagtrabaho na ang Senado. Sa ngayon, wala tayong nakikitang staff ng Blue Ribbon Committee. So, nung tanungin natin si Gatchalian kung ano ba to, papasok ba to sa Senate records, basta ang advisory raw niya ay, ang advisory ng Blue Ribbon Chair na si Tulfo ay walang any hearing today. So, nakikita natin na merong ilang mga staff ng mga senador that I mentioned na present na nga dito sa lounge, but not one member of the Blue Ribbon Committee. So, wala pa tayong nakikitang broom staff. At pagdating dun sa resource persons, ang sabi hindi raw papapasukin. Pero pagdating sa mga senador, since this is their office as well, the Senate is the office of all senators, allowed silang makapasok. Sa ngayon, walang sagot itong si Remulla kung dito ba siya mananatili sa Senate premises the whole day. Pero sinagot naman niya kung meron daw bang aarestuhin. Sabi niya wala raw aarestuhin. Pinuntahan lang niya si Gatchalian para makipagpulong. That's the latest so far. Balik sa inyo dyan sa studio.
Hannah, kahapon, very emphatic si Senator Alan Cayetano saying that itutuloy nila today ang Blue Ribbon Committee na yan. Nakita mo na ba dyan si Senator Marcoleta? And meron ding balita that they were gathering the Marines. Nasulyapan nyo na ba sila? Are they there outside, in the premises? What are their plans?
So far, we haven't seen any member of itong 18 ex-Marines dahil nandito kasi tayo, nasa press conference kasi tayo with Senator Edwin kanina at si Senator Rodante Marcoleta hindi pa natin nakikita, 4 pa lang from the Cayetano block yung nakita natin, si Senators Pia, Alan, Lauren, and Robin na lumabas din eventually to have a meeting sa likod. So, sa ngayon, nagkakaroon ng sort of confusion pagdating nga sa leadership. Pero nanindigan itong si Gatchalian na dahil nakapagdeklara ng quorum kahapon ay meron ng newly elected na bagong chairpersons. Ito yung kung saan si Tulfo nga yung sumulpot bilang or na-elect bilang BRC chairman. At pagdating dun sa kung meron bang posibleng violation just in case or paglabag sa Senate rules in case this happens, hindi ito direktang naisagot, no? Basta ang importante daw, masunod ang protocol, yan yung iginiit ni Gatchalian at allowed ang mga senador na pumasok. Pero what's clear for now is ang resource persons na una nang nailabas nung komite ni Senator Pia ay posibleng hindi na nga makapasok.
Okay. Maraming salamat, Hannah, for the latest Senate update. And before we take a short break, our hanging question to Attorney Paulo Duterte. Panelo. To Paulo would be...
Panelo.
Kasi kapangalan mo ang anak eh. How would the latest development inside the Senate impact the impeachment trial versus Sara? And the spokes will be back.
And the spokes is back, still with Attorney Paulo Panelo, not Duterte. Our hanging question.
Sorry, Paulo.
How would the latest development inside the Senate impact the impeachment trial of VP Sara Duterte?
I guess it depends on who is sitting by the time the impeachment starts on July 4 ba yun? July
Because
4?
curiously, one of the motions made by Mig Zubiri was to change the rules on the impeachment, allowing the Senate pro tempore to be the presiding officer. So,
I see.
what's part of the motion. So,
Maybe
inapproved.
lawyer ang ilalagay as...
Hindi, sabi, pro tempore daw.
Ah, okay.
So, but yun ang problema, no? Kung hindi sila, they refuse to budge, one and both, dalawang magkiklaim kami ang impeachment court, paano yun?
Sino uupo sa SONA?
Hindi,
Isa pa
by
yun.
the way, kung 10 lang sila, assuming 10 sila, can you constitute yourself as an impeachment court?
Looks like they won't be able to. But parang as far as they're concerned, yung 12 din, hindi pwede. Diba? So, may stalemate na naman. Ako, nakikita ko lang dun sa impeachment is, for me, I monitored the House impeachment hearings, and for me, those were not fair proceedings. So, I guess for the Alan Peter Cayetano camp, they wrestled the control of the Senate in an attempt to make it a more fair proceeding. Ito naman sila, tingin nila mas fair kung sila Senator Gatchalian naman, tingin nila mas fair kung sila. Diba? Ganun lang naman yan eh.
Total strategist ka naman eh. Pag ikaw nasa House, anong gagawin mo?
Sa House?
House prosecution team, anong gagawin mo? Dalawa, mag-ayos muna kayo. Can they move for a...
Postponement.
Oo, pwede bang...
Didn't they recognize already the new Senate leadership?
They did.
The House did, and the President did also.
The House,
so both did na. And that's part of, by the way, that was a part of the sina Migs and company followed the prescription done by Avelino. Because Avelino, sila Senate President Cuenco informed the President and the lower house as well. So they just follow. But yung nga ang point ko kung na-recognize na sila, so hindi sila sisipot kung si Alan Cayetano ang presiding officer?
I don't know.
I don't think they will allow SP or Senator Cayetano to even go there and preside.
Pero,
Diba?
I can only go based on Avelino versus Cuenco that if they want to make this a justiciable issue na siguradong sasagutin ng Supreme Court within a reasonable time, they might have to constitute themselves as the other Senate, di ba?
Which is part of the strategy, Paolo. Kung alam mong tagilid ka na sa Supreme Court, huwag ka na mag-file. Bahala sila hanggang dulo ng...
Magpapreside siya sa Facebook.
Hanggang dulo ng session.
Ako kasi
Bumalik na.
I don't see it right, parang at this moment, I don't see na tagilid eh. Just because the ruling in Cuenco was so divided. It was essentially 4-4 eh. 4 are saying that there was a quorum of 12. 4 were saying 13 is a quorum.
So you're assuming that the Supreme Court, since feeling mo may laban sila Alan, you're also assuming that the Supreme Court will not rule based on the political question doctrine. Hindi sasaw-saw sila.
Tingin ko kasi one of the basis for saying it was a political question or for refusing to rule was kasi I guess Avelino cited a US case, Wirtz versus somebody, where there were 2 Senate bodies competing as the real Senate. So if sabi ng Supreme Court, if the situation were that, maybe we would have intervened. But since it's not, diba? So that's a signal to Alan Peter Cayetano's camp. Tuloy natin to.
File tayo sa Supreme Court.
Hindi, tuloy natin na
impeachment.
tayo yung totoong Senate majority. So yun ang magiging
sa
play
iyo,
nila.
ang advice mo sa kanila, don't file a petition before the Supreme Court. Hayaan mo yung kabila mag-file ng kaso?
Ang problema kasi with filing with the Supreme Court, if they take time, edi wala din. 'Di ba? Parang lang yan yung ICC warrant of arrest since there's no formal ruling. Parang the executive has taken it to mean na it's valid.
Pero
to enforce it.
you're suggesting therefore that parang sabi mo parang matagal to, ibig sabihin pag may kaso, sila win ang presumptive, disputable presumptively sila ang leadership.
Depends eh. Kasi kunyari, they proceed with the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee
Right.
later, and there's enough formality that's exercised later. You have a situation where there are 2 formal groups.
Pero how do you view the report of Hannity that walang staff ng Blue Ribbon doon? So it's an admission, at least on the part of the Senate staff, recognizing the authority of Sherwin Gatchalian.
Could be victory yun for Senator Gatchalian's camp.
Right.
I'm not too familiar with the Senate rules, but maybe there's a way that they can elect a new
Sorry po, if
Blue
I
Ribbon
may
staff.
interrupt, we also have an inset now, and we are seeing that Senator Pia Cayetano, and I think that is, and Senator Alan Cayetano as well, and also Senator Robin Padilla are now at the Senate. And it appears that they are currently preparing to actually proceed with the Blue Ribbon Committee hearing. We can also see, I think, from the back, that looks like Senator Amy Margaux in like a camouflage colored top. So we'll see. This is very exciting, considering that yesterday Senator Tulfo was already voted as the new Blue Ribbon Committee chair, and he said that the Blue Ribbon Committee hearing would be held on Monday instead. In fact, Senator Win Gatchalian yesterday also ordered a work from home for today. So, so we will see now how they will proceed with this. If we would recall, the chairperson of the Blue Ribbon Committee prior to yesterday's motion to vacate all positions was Senator Pia Cayetano. However, it appears now that they are maintaining that they still hold their old positions.
Right.
I think that's Baligod right there.
And we also now see
Yes.
Attorney Baligod and the ex-Marines. So kahapon po sa press conference niya, sinabi ni Senator Tulfo that if they arrive, then papagmeriendahin daw po sila. However, it appears that the Cayetano siblings, Senator Alan Cayetano and Senator Pia Cayetano, and the former majority are determined to proceed with this Blue Ribbon Committee hearing. It would be very interesting, though,
Yeah.
because they don't have a chair now, technically, because the chair is Senator Erwin Tulfo,
Yes.
who is not there.
My comment is,
Or Raffy Tulfo, rather.
this is so informal that they're. I mean, look at. This is the Senate as an institution. At least give respect to the institution. The female senators are well dressed. The male senators appear to take this hearing light. Look at Senator Robin Padilla. I mean, it's so. The formality has been degraded. So, but this is really a question right now, Paolo, of two Senate Blue Ribbon Committee hearings. This
Yes.
is untenable. At some point, someone has to file a case
pero
before the Supreme Court.
as I was saying, let me just continue my thought. Kung sino yung tumakbo una sa Supreme Court, yun yung talo eh. Because they have the burden of proof, number one. Tapos number two, if upuan or hindi mabilis yung action ng Supreme Court, then kung sino man yung nakaupo or yung kinireklamo, 'di ba? Parang ang lalabas valid, sila yung valid or sila yung de facto, 'di ba?
Si Malutikio was here. Not here, but at the forefront yata. The idea of their side is really to have two narratives happening. That's why they're insisting on the Blue Ribbon Committee. Because on the Blue Ribbon Committee, they're going to hit the House congressmen on the contractors and all that, and all the flood control scam. So between these two narratives, they're betting on the fact that the flood control narrative would be more exciting. At the same time, kasi it's very telling because you've got two hearings that will happen during recess.
Oh, yeah.
The Blue Ribbon can hold sessions during recess. So is the impeachment court is July 6.
Yeah.
So yun ang labanan. That's why gusto nilang matuloy ang Blue Ribbon para maisiwalat ang flood control scam.
Sa'yo na naman. So on that note, tingnan natin po kung ano ang kaganapan ngayon sa Senado. We have again on the line, Hannah T. Hannah, ano ba ang update dyan?
Hi. Yes, oo. Actually, mabilis, no? Kanina lumitaw si Senator Alan Peter Cayetano addressing the media na tutuloy pa rin ang Blue Ribbon hearing ngayon. Tinanong natin siya kung paano yan dahil wala tayong nakikitang presensya ng Blue Ribbon staff. Sabi ni Sen Alan, they have their own staff na kaya naman daw gawin itong pagpapadaloy ng hearing. At maya-maya, dumating na nga itong si Attorney Levito Baligod along with the 18 ex-Marines. And if we can recall, these are the this is a group of 18 ex-Marines na nag-claim na nag-deliver ng cash sa ilang mga politiko. Sa ngayon, patuloy pa rin ang pagsalita ni Senator Pia Cayetano claiming she is still the Blue Ribbon Chair. At nagkaroon daw ng struggle na makapasok ang 18 ex-Marines kanina at maayos naman daw. At pakinggan natin itong speech ni Senator Pia.
So walang problema, pinapasok po sila. Maraming salamat sa inyo. Our media friends, you're always welcome to cover. Pasensya na parang nagkaroon ng konting gulo, but definitely we do not in any way intend for any of you not to be able to cover our events here in the Senate anytime. On that note, nagulat lang ako kasi maayos naman. Sabi ko dun sa ating resource person, halika na, sinusundo ko kayo, let's go in. Nagulat na lang ako na nakita ko dun si Secretary John Vic Remulla, hinaharang ako. I never thought the day would come that somebody would prevent me from entering the Senate. This is my office. Again, thank you. Di ko rin nakalain na yung Senate staff, yung media, dahil nasama na kayo doon, kayo pang nakatulong na makarating ako dito sa hearing na to. This is the Senate. This is the halls of democracy. We will hold our hearing and we will continue. So hindi na ho ako magpapaligoy-ligoy. Good morning again po sa inyong lahat.
Hello. That is Senator Pia Cayetano. She's claiming na she had a struggle entering the Senate premises at nakita daw niya si DLG Secretary John V. Primula bago pa nakapasok. At sabi niya, this is the Senate. First time daw niyang maranasan na siya ay hinarang para makapasok ng Senate. Iginiit niya na invalid yung nangyaring botohan kahapon sa plenary, kung saan idinaglarang quorum yung 12 senators, which then prompted the election of Senate President pro tempore Win Gatchalian. Sabi ni Senator Pia, kahit daw elementary student, malalaman na 12 is not 13. At ma-recall ko na lang din, just a few hours after yan ihayag ni Senator Pia kagabi, nag-tweet itong si Senator Tito Soto na 12 becomes 13 when 24 is 22. So sa ngayon, 22 kasi ang senador na idinaglara kahapon dahil nga si Senator Jinggoy Estrada ay sumuko na sa mga otoridad following a warrant of arrest against him kaugnay nung plunder case niya, habang si Senator Bato de la Rosa naman ay on the run at meron ding ICC warrant of arrest laban sa kanya in relation to his role sa kampanya kontra droga. So sa ngayon, nagsi-speech pa rin itong si Senator Pia Cayetano at yan ang latest dito sa Senate plenary so far. Balik sa inyo.
Maraming salamat, Hannah. So, basically, this is really a question of quorum. But I just want to add, former Senate President Franklin Drilon sent me a video where he presided over a business of doing the Senate business with only 12 as quorum, and it was recognized. So it's something that the presumption is that you can do 12 when it's an ordinary course of doing business, but when you're changing leadership, it's a 13 because it's clearly said in the Constitution. So how, as part of the legal team of VP Sara Duterte, again, how does Senate shakeup affect the defense strategy?
I don't think it affects the strategy that much, although I'm not part of the defense team. I think there's even if the numbers hold, they will still lack 4 unless they make this new computation. 15 na lang yung needed to impeach because of the absence of certain senators. Baka ubusin nila isa-isa yung old majority, now the new minority. So,
pero 5 lang naman silang may kaso eh. Si Cheese, Joel, Jinggoy, 2 Villar, si Marcoleta pala yung mention.
Wala nga siya, baka na-aresto na, hindi pa natin alam. Diba? So, ako, as a Filipino, I just want to see this Senate Blue Ribbon Committee because I'm interested on what the 18 Marines has to say. If the Tulfo Blue Ribbon Committee wants to air their side, then they can invite them on Monday, diba? Wala namang issue.
Ako po as a Filipino, I would like to see the integrity of the Senate back, and we cannot have 2 parallel Senates proceeding. So thank you so much, Attorney Paolo Panelo. That's all the time that we have today, and you can continue to monitor what's going on in the Senate. There will still be an inset there, and Bilyonaryo will be continuing with that report.
So standby tayo mamaya, tuloy-tuloy itong pag-cover sa Senado. So, but anyway, constitutions are tested not during the... I'm sorry, mukhang wala na tayong time. I'm former... ikaw na.
I am former spokesperson Margaux Salcedo.
And I'm former Secretary Edwin Lacierda. And we are the spokes.